There we go. Morning.
Morning.
Okay, good morning. This is the July 17th, 2025 meeting of the Southern Region Board of Review. This hearing is being held via WebEx video conference at the Perry B. Duryea Jr. State Office Building, 250 Veterans Memorial Highway, conference room 489A, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. The time is now 9:15 and this hearing is officially open. The members of the board are Andrew Hames, Erica Shaw, Richard Bavone, Laura Bruce Lehman, and myself, Robert Peterson, Chairman. From the Department of State is Courtney Nation and CG Ajoku. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so the court reporter can have all the information requested. You may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on the matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. First hearing is a holdover from September 2024. Petition number is 2024-0017. The petitioner is Mr. Chris Ross for William Miratello.
Good morning. My name is Chris Ross from Long Island.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No problem. This petition pertains to a detached single-family dwelling. The dwelling is 1 story in height of wood frame type 5B construction and approximately 1,950 square feet in total gross floor area, inclusive of basement space. The dwelling is located at 986 Merrick Avenue, Town of Hempstead, County of Nassau, State of New York. What town is that in?
Merrick.
Excuse me?
Merrick.
19 NYCR, the petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, which requires that space created in basements may have a ceiling that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights in spaces in basements shall not be reduced. Petitioner wishes to maintain a finished basement with ceiling heights less than allowed. And 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R307, which requires that fixtures shall be spaced in accordance with Figure R307.1 and in accordance with requirements of Section P2705.1. Petitioner wishes to maintain a basement bathroom with fixtures which are not all spaced in accordance with the Figure R307.1 or Section P2705.1. And lastly, 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R311.7.2, which requires that the headroom and stairways shall not be less than 6 feet 8 inches measured vertically from the slope line adjoining the tread nosing or from the floor surface of the landing or platform on that portion of the stairway. The petitioner wishes to have a stairway to the basement with headroom clearances less than allowed. Okay, Mr. Ross, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris Ross, Long Island Perfect Permits, 124 Front Street, Suite 205 in Massapequa Park. I'm representing the homeowner, William Miratello. He's the owner of 986 Merrick Avenue in Merrick. That's Section 50, Block 29, 291, Block 269. The previous hearing, we had a holdover from September 20th, 2024. It was adjourned to work out the issues with the existing basement stairs and ceiling height. I believe, during that hearing, we discussed the other issues with the ceiling height and the recommendations and the recommended remediation, sorry, of the what we're going to do basically to fix the ceiling height and in the basement by removing some AC ducts and creating a better height, a more safe height. Basically, the issue was the staircase. Unfortunately, there was a bathroom located right above the stairs, which would have been a very large burden for the client to remove or redo the bathroom, since it's the only bathroom on that level. So in consideration of the comments and the discussion by the board from our last hearing, my client is proposing an exterior staircase to provide a second means of egress. To avoid additional costs to any bill and to not to basically have any issues with any of the building codes. We're proposing to keep the interior stairs while adding the exterior stairs as the second means of egress. My client also, as recommended by the board suggested opening up some of the area in the basement. So my client is willing to remove some of the existing walls. some of the interior walls to create more of an open floor concept. Those are illustrated by the plans that were submitted. A wall in the main room, a wall in the back room, and removing a closet. So there would be more open space. And I don't know if we have to go back and address the other issues, but I believe the staircase was the really main issue that we needed to adjourn for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ross. So by removing the ducts and the lower soffit, what's the ceiling height that you're achieving?
That would be
Well, the ceiling
declared to
height
be
and the
six-
projection height.
by removing that'll be 6'7" by removing those ducts.
So the ceiling would be 6'7", and what's the lowest projection in the basement?
It was 5'6" was the lowest projection.
And that still remains, or you're?
No, that
enhancing
was going to be the bathroom. The soffit runs under the bathroom, and basically that was the issue, was really in the bathroom. So by removing that, rerouting that duct and removing the soffit, you will pick up the extra clearance. So that will be 6'7".
So where is the 5 foot plus or minus soffit area, or where is that staying?
No, that's not staying. I'm sorry. That's being removed. I apologize. That's not.
I got
that's-
these terrible tags on my PDF. I can't read the notes on the resubmission, but I recall that the central beam being below 6'4" somewhere. Is that still true? Is there a sufficient projection anywhere else in the basement? What did we do?
Here's the,
Might be able to shut the wall.
When you go to the print preview, if you can zoom in on your print preview, it doesn't show.
Okay. Yeah, I thought somewhere in here. Right? What does that say? Headroom 511?
511.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're requesting a variance for that 511
That's correct.
as well as so you have a code compliant ceiling height or you're deficient an inch? Do I have that correct? Just want to
Correct.
get the record straight.
Yep, that's correct.
You have a 6'7" ceiling height when 6'8" is required. And then you have a projection of 5'11.5" for the
Correct.
central girder.
That
Okay,
is
and then you opened up some walls, I think as we discussed at the September hearing. And putting in an exterior means of egress via a stair.
correct.
And then the internal stair you didn't touch. You're not proposing to enhance that. It's still
No.
53.5 inches.
That is correct.
And what's the hardship not to address that 53 inches?
There's the only bathroom in the house is right above that. So they would have to basically rip out that bathroom and it would have to be redesigned, which is
Another
an economic burden.
And that would cost more than putting in a exterior concrete stair with a drywall and handrails and
This is.
I'm just asking questions, yeah. Trying to rationalize it. So you're asking to keep the interior stair and then address the means of egress. You still have to communicate to the first floor. You have a laundry room down there. You have a bathroom down there, albeit they're all non-habitable space. But there's no way to maybe pop a shower in and get the tub out of there and then get this thing to where it could be over 6 feet?
I know that, and there's also a beam that I believe that runs right underneath. I don't have that spec here. Let me see. I know that the homeowner is on as well, and he did look into having that done. William, are you there?
we have a beam.
How are you?
What's here?
Yeah,
So you
there
had-
would be some structural work. Sorry, go ahead.
Right, William, you said you had a contractor. There's a beam, I believe, that runs right under that bathroom. Was that an
Yeah.
issue?
Yes. It would have been a much bigger job to, I guess, extend those stairs and,
Hard to hear you.
can you hear me?
Mr. Miratello, I think you got to speak up a little bit or speak into the mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Very
Very
low.
I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't hear me.
You can yell at us.
Yeah, so I think, the cost of ripping out the bathroom and redesigning everything over those stairs was a much bigger cost, than just adding another egress entrance somewhere. And I figured that, so, yeah, that's why we proposed the outside stairs.
Okay, so if you improve the 53 inches on that interior stair, and I can't speak for the other board members, but if it's significant enough, you wouldn't need to put that exterior stair in. It could be a path to an approval for a variance. You understand what I'm saying?
Now, could you explain that again?
The interior stair
The
is
interior-
grossly deficient at 53 and a half inches. So if you could somehow perform some alterations there to get that 53 inches more in the realm of 63 inches, let's say, or, 72 inches is 6 feet, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That you have an egress window out of the basement already. You wouldn't need to spend the money to put this external concrete exterior stair in with a door and all the work affiliated with doing that work.
Right, but that is, in my opinion, is a much bigger project than just adding.
Did you vet out those costs at all?
Well, I don't have the costs in front of me, but they're a much bigger cost to rip out the bathroom and rip out the ceiling. I mean, there was some challenges we had there.
And the exterior
Okay,
staircase
from
was
my-
also,
You-
the board had
you-
also recommended,
That compared to ripping out the whole bathroom upstairs and, was more significant, from what when you compare the two, yeah, they were way more significant.
Okay, I think we're lucky enough to have the architect with us today. Maybe we can ask him and see what he thinks.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please state your name and your address.
Yes. Yep. Ben Compton from representing Joe Bello Architects, 6334 Northern Boulevard in East Norwich, New York, 11732.
Thank you.
Yep. The difficulty there is the configuration of the bathroom, and the extension of the stair in any form is basically cuts off any access to the toilet. And there's just not enough space left over. So it actually, to change that bathroom, there's no way to reconfigure it with an extended stair. Just adding a shower wouldn't do it, because there still, again, would be no access to that toilet. So what it would involve is we'd actually have to completely gut the bathroom, rearrange all the plumbing, and extend it in some way. Either into the kitchen or through that thick wall, which is a bearing wall, into the dining room. And that's where the additional costs come in. That makes it expensive, makes it so expensive and so difficult to just do it. We can't just put a shower in there, because even if you did shrink that space, we still have the issue that you would no longer be able to use that toilet. And so
Understand.
Yep.
Could you cannibalize that closet and slide everything over and maybe rearrange the bathroom? So what do you think, Ben, if it was a full
Again,
gut
it would,
reno?
it would still, it would require full gut rental. It would also, it's not even that, it's also just the rerouting of all the plumbing would have to occur through the toilet runs and everything else through the basement. So, whether we haven't gone through, I don't think, the cost exercise of seeing, what walls to what extent we'd have to cannibalize either the kitchen or the bathroom to do that, simply because once you get to the point of rerouting plumbing and having to do a total gut renovation, at that point, then it was, I believe, the understanding with the contractor that it was actually going to be cheaper and easier to do this exterior stair.
What about climbers?
I'm sorry, Mr. Courtney?
Is there any adjustment that can be done to the stairway? Because there's a significant landing.
There's
area
the
to
doors.
use.
Yeah, there's a door that lays.
There's an exterior door. I thought of it.
I think I'd like to try and somehow get on the record that, all right, in my mind, as an architect, typical bathroom gut reno is like 10,000. So maybe there's some structural work that needs to be done. Some rough plumbing, more than normally just a direct replacement in plumbing. So maybe it's a 15, 18, maybe $20,000 reno for the bathroom to get the stair to somewhat work. What does the exterior stair cost? So let's say we're saying 20 to get this stair to be somewhat compliant at $20,000. What's the exterior concrete stair? Is that 10?
Yeah, more, yeah, half of that.
I can't speak for the other board members. My line of questioning is because I really want to try and see the stair improved. I think some of the board members might be okay with the exterior stair. We could flesh that out in deliberation, but I just wanted to, with everybody here and participating, is there a way to really get the stair to somehow work at 6 feet headroom or more? You know? So if you think that's not possible or it's just too intrusive, then that's your response. But is there any other way that we can get this thing to possibly work because it's the primary stair in the house to the basement? Now you got a nice wide open space down there with a laundry room and a bathroom, probably going to be a rec room. Ceiling height's not terrible. You have an egress window. Why can't we get this stair to work?
The exterior staircase was also a suggestion when we were discussing this at the last hearing. So that's
Yeah.
something that we kind of looked into as an option.
Yeah, I had adjourned to address stair headroom, rearrange bathroom, 2 compartmentalized basement, remove some walls, 1 big open space, 6 foot 5.5, possibly rec room, have design professional at the hearing. And I think Mr. Pavone asked for a non-conforming application with the town. Did we get that in the resubmission?
My issue is that it is a bungalow on the first floor. It's tiny. And the use of the basement is, is crucial, right? You're gonna be using this interior staircase more frequently than a regular house with a basement for storage. It is very utilitarian, this basement. So I too would like to see the staircase fixed, the interior one. And the question is, when you said that there's only 1 bathroom, you're gonna do work on that first floor bathroom, is it not possible for you to go downstairs to the other bathroom during those couple of weeks?
Is it not possible?
I mean, if it's the only access to the basement,
Exactly, and that's, once you would be doing that work, you would have, the access to that basement would be pretty much shut. I mean, I would.
That would be compromised.
Yeah, it would be extremely compromised. And I remember we were going off it, like, Chris said, there was a beam there too. I mean, there was a lot of work that needed to be done to get that to a compliant. I mean, the house was, like I said, built in 24, and then, and that stair compliant would be a lot of work compared to just adding an outside egress stairs. And I understand the concerns, but yeah, that's still going to come at a big challenge. Using the bathroom, having access to the bathroom while that work is being done, cost. So yeah, that was the concern, and that's why we thought an outside egress would actually add an entrance and solve that issue.
I'd like to ask my fire official on the board, Miss Erica there, how do you feel, what would you prefer to have or see in an emergency situation? Would you prefer to have an interior primary stair close to the approximate minimum code required height, or would you prefer to come through an exterior outside stair
No,
to rescue somebody?
nobody's gonna, human nature as it is they're gonna go in through the indoor stair, because that's where it is. Like the outdoor stair is only if the indoor stair is compromised, right? So you tend to want to go down into the interior stair. So with that said, it being as close to code compliance, so nobody's getting hurt. Like, you're only gonna go to the outdoor stair if that stairwell is not available to you. Like just in the train of thought of how firefighters think, you wanna go through the interior. to get to that area. And then if that's inaccessible because it's burnt out or something like that, and there's a secondary means to get down there, you'll use that, but that's gonna, nobody's gonna know that it's a shortened stair. That's
Even if you have to go to the back of the house, because the new stair they're proposing is towards the front.
Yeah, I
It would
could've-
approach a,
Where is the new stair?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out where the new stair was.
I
on
don't see
that.
it on the drawing.
Yeah,
It's on the front, towards the front right of the dwelling. If you're standing in front where it says existing slab on grade on the bottom of the drawing, that's the front. of the house.
he's
He
looking
doesn't
at,
have it.
excuse me for a moment. You're looking at the old,
I have the old one here.
you don't have the supplemental mission for today.
but is that near that's in the back, right? That's not near the front door.
It's right in here.
No, it's in the front,
Oh, it's in the front?
correct.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's here.
Oh.
It's here. Here and here,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah. I guess I opened up the old package.
Are there any zoning implications to installing that stair at the front?
No, it meets the setback.
Okay.
Do we enclose it?
I'm sorry?
Do we
I
enclose
had
it?
something.
And as a fire, like, I would rather it be open that people can see it, but nobody's gonna know until you go into the interior that it's a shortened stairwell, right? So you're running your risk when you're walking in there that you're not gonna know until you get there and you smack your head against the wall.
Yes.
Right? So
Unless you put a sign that says welcome.
nobody's looking, you know, and in a house, nobody looks for those signs, right? When there's smoke and smoke is coming up, you're not looking for that stuff. You're coming in to try to rescue somebody that might be in the basement or to get into the fire. I mean, I assume with the secondary means of egress, which you have to have, anybody that's there will be able to get out. And that's not the problem, the problem is getting in to be able to fight the fire.
I actually liked the thought of having another entrance to the basement. I thought it was safer. So to me, it was actually a great option because of that. I actually liked adding another entrance and another place for entering and escaping. So I understand what you're saying, but for me, it's another entrance to get in and out of that basement.
Oh, it's definitely to have as many exits as possible. It's definitely
Yeah,
safe.
I mean, for me, it was, that was actually, believe it or not, I'm surprised to hear that. That was actually my biggest, that was like, you know what? I think another entrance would be great down here anyway. So, that was actually for safety reasons was my, because you can update, let's say we spent all the money and we updated that stairs, it's still just another entrance way out, and we have the egress window that's there, which is another way to get out, and that's the way I thought about it, but then I thought, well, yeah, I mean, I would like to add a third way to get out on the other side, which I thought was a great option. So that was actually the appealing part to me. I was actually thinking about having another entrance there to be able to get in and out in case, God forbid, anything ever happened. I think reconfiguring, in a perfect situation, I think reconfiguring that stairs would be great in general. The cost that comes to that is, I think, way more significant than just adding a third safety, another entrance, which to me is like I said, coming from my eyes, I'm not someone who deals with this every day, but I just thought that would be a more safety issue as far as I could see it. So for me, that was the whole appeal of it. One of the big.
I remember reading in the transcript that you're gonna put this up for sale. Are you trying to sell it? Is it
I'm 50-50.
true or?
I'm 50-50.
Sorry?
I'm 50-50. I don't know if I'm gonna sell yet. I'm not really sure.
Is this a primary residence or?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. There's a door at the landing of the staircase, that is interior staircase. Is that door important?
No, I think that was one of the proposals was to take that out. You talking about the door at the,
Yes,
when you go down the stairs, the interior stairs in the front, as soon as you come
Yeah.
down, it's in front of you?
yes.
Yeah, I think we were gonna take that out.
So to Courtney's point, why can't we manipulate the winders, the steps, add a couple of other risers, work on the staircase itself? So that it can meet, it becomes a better, less non-compliant.
So you're talking about redoing
remove the
the
door.
steps themselves to change the
Yeah.
distance?
Yeah, no, not the distance. So you redo the stairs by omitting the exterior door, and you do a winding step.
A winder landing, yeah.
And you add a step at the top, a step somewhere else, and, work on the staircase.
Ben, you know the riser in Fred?
Just to get
So,
this
so,
correct.
yeah, so I was,
If you're proposing a winding stair in that spot instead of the stair that's there as a better safety option.
No, it's really adding a step on the landing, and that's considered a winder. So you're making the turn, not on a flat landing, you're basically doing steps as you make the turn. And that's getting you down quicker under that headroom height to get more headroom.
a winder
Gotcha.
would,
So if,
sorry,
so,
Not a curved. Yeah, one at a time, please.
sorry, so if, I'm sorry. So basically, William, so what they're saying is, let's just say there are 10, there are 10 steps. So we would come down 5 steps and turn. And then turn towards into the interior of the basement. So that would alleviate.
You would introduce a riser.
But
You have to redo the stair. And we don't even know what the riser treads are. Maybe you could do something to enhance the height of the riser, which will get you down quicker before you get that bathroom header.
sorry, this is
Understand.
Ben Compton from Joe Bello. The
ahead,
difficulty,
Ben.
if you look at the basement plan, the way that the house was constructed is that area over there is actually a separate foundation wall. So if we can't push that stair closer and adding a riser there, because it would then it would drop down and start conflicting with the foundation wall at that section. If you look at the basement plan up in that section, you can see the three risers that are there. So adding another one would then drop the riser into the foundation wall. And then as far as adding a winder, we can't really add a winder because then it would conflict with the door. We need to maintain the exterior door of the house to that section to maintain the weather tightness. So it is possible to eliminate the door at the top of the stairs, but it's not so simple as just start adding risers because of the way the existing foundation occurs at that location.
I kind of want to just say, where you're putting the exterior stair, just build an interior scissor stair and get done with this. But then you're taking on more of a project. You're getting that stair in the back, you're removing that, so you'll get some floor area in your kitchen. Maybe that's a pantry. Now I'm playing architect. And then put where you're putting your exterior stair, put a new interior stair there that meets code. Do something nice, presentation towards the street, enhance your curb appeal. And then you have this, open stair down to the basement. Maybe do a finished basement. You're spending money, but you're removing the variance request for a 53-inch interior stair, which I have a problem with. The other board members might not. So I think you addressed everything else fairly well.
Could you just say, for the record, because the last time I questioned Mr. Roth about, you bought the house approximately in 2008, and I questioned, was everything existing the way it is today, other than, of course, the modifications that you're proposing? Is that true?
Correct.
So the addition to the rear of the house was existing as it is?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so we're not going to pursue any other options so we'll take our chance with an approval here. Any other questions?
No.
Any other questions, board members?
No.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
can I just, I don't know if Mr. Martello, did you want to discuss this further, or do you want the board to go to make a decision? We can adjourn this to rediscuss this, or?
I mean, I would like to, yeah, I would definitely like to discuss this further because I have concerns. I would like to get more of a detailed cost factor and I still, before, what is your suggestion, Chris? What would you suggest here?
I think we should adjourn because to discuss this. Otherwise, the board will make a decision and, then we're.
I would agree. I would agree.
What would you gentlemen discuss to try and get these improvements that we talked about addressed? What would you discuss?
It would be the cost factor for basically renovating the kitchen renovation, stairs and bathroom, and or like you said with the scissor stairs, if that's an option as well. So getting costs
Okay.
for those two projects would be
Yeah,
beneficial.
you're spending money, you're removing walls, you're putting an exterior stair and you're spending all this money and you still have this problem with the interior stair. So maybe you can collectively try and funnel the money into a improvement that is this really
That's a
not
good point.
interior stair. Excuse me for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is there a minimum headroom that the board would be comfortable with at that interior stair? Because if there is, what the board could do is grant a variance to allow that minimum headroom and have him go and see if that works. If that does not work, then they can come back with a brand new application and say, listen, we did the math, doesn't work.
I think it's better to not make a decision now and lean in any direction. And let them go over it further before coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. I would.
Is there a minimum that the board would allow though, so that they can go and do math with?
I'm thinking about 6 feet.
Well, 80 inches is the required minimum, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think if you can get north of 72, depending on what you do to the stair, if it's not 2 feet, then conceivably you have a very high chance of getting approved.
We have approved list.
Yeah, have we? Straight run kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But not 5'4". That's.
No. Or less than that.
Okay. We would like to request an adjournment if possible.
I'll make
Nice try, Courtney.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Guys, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back on the record. Thank you. Okay, the second hearing is in the matter of petition number 2025-0401. We have Bill Shira and Ms. Fernandez. Are we here today? We have anybody on this matter, 0401?
I'm here. Yep, Taneri Fernandez
morning.
and also Bill is here. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, good morning. Okay, we're gonna read this into the record, and then either one of you can speak on behalf of the application. Okay. Okay, this hearing is in the matter of petition number 2025-0401. Petitioner is Mr. William Shearer, RA, for, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Tannery?
Taneri.
Fernandez? Okay,
Yep.
thank you. This petition pertains to the change of use of an existing detached two-story dwelling of wood frame construction to become an office Group B occupancy building. The building is approximately 1,600 square feet in total gross floor area and is located at 165 East Main Street, Town of Huntington, County of Suffolk, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR, Part 1227, the 2020 existing building code of New York State, Section 305.4.2, which for a complete change of occupancy states that where an entire building undergoes a change of occupancy, it shall comply with the Section 305.4.1 and shall have all the following accessible features. Number one, not fewer than one accessible building entrance. Number two, not fewer than one accessible route from an accessible building entrance to a primary function area. Number three, signage complying with section 1111 of the Building Code of New York State. Number four, accessible parking where parking is being provided. Number five, not fewer than one accessible passenger loading zone where loading zones are provided. And number six, not fewer than one accessible route connecting accessible parking, accessible passenger loading zones to an accessible entrance. Where it is technically infeasible to comply with the new construction standards for any of these requirements for a change of group or occupancy, items 1 through 6 shall conform to the requirements to the maximum extent technically feasible. The petitioner does not wish to construct a ramp for an accessible entrance. Okay, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Taneri Fernandez. I'm the owner of Balance Mental Health Counseling, where we provide services virtually as well as in person. And the reason I'm here today is because I want to show that I do provide other means of accessibility for all our patients. We've been in business for 10 years now in the town of Huntington, and not in this location, but in different locations within the town of Huntington. And we've always made anything accessible. At this point, within the 10 years, I haven't had yet, doesn't mean I won't, but that I haven't had anyone come in saying that they needed to come in with a wheelchair to get access into a building. The clients we have had have voluntarily on their own, didn't say anything, but wanted virtual sessions. And, interestingly enough, here we're in a call and everyone is virtual, mostly not in person coming in, the participants. And that's what we notice in our practice as well. But we do have other means of accessibility. So I do have a colleague who I used to sublease from in the past, who is only 0.5 miles away from my current location, who is allowing me to use her space if that ever did become a reason where there was someone who needed wheelchair accessibility into my office. I would just hold appointments in that specific office for that specific individual. So that I have an agreement with that colleague, and I have a letter if needed to be presented. And that building that she's in is a medical building that I used to work at as well. And it has, all the handicap accessibility. It has the ground level floor into an office. And in addition to that, I'm also willing to purchase a removable ramp if needed to just have on site. If worst case scenario, someone did have to come in and they did have a wheelchair in that moment, I can purchase that. I feel like it would be a much less of a cost. And to have something on site, I think is helpful. I do have a sign in front of my building that says by appointment only. We only take people by appointment only. We are a mental health practice. We are unable to see people urgently. There's other offices that like that is a crisis center where they see person 24 hours directly, no appointment needed. But we're not that kind of facility. Everything has to be scheduled ahead of time. Consent forms need to be formed ahead of time. So we always know who's coming into our office well within 24 hours at least.
Okay, thank you for that. I must say, though, the way the code is drafted, it's to get all buildings compliant with the accessible code every time there's a renovation. And it's not just for your patrons, it's also for if someone on your staff gets injured and needs a wheelchair, that they're provided with accessibility. So we have a responsibility as a board to make sure that there is access with dignity, not through like a back door or through a storage room or something like that.
Yes.
And
because even our staff, 50% of them are virtual.
So if I can interrupt you, how many staff members are there on any given day?
So right now, on a given day, it varies because everyone, like I said, 50% are virtual. Some are in person. But on a given day, I would say it's probably 4 staff members that are in the building out of the 12 that we have.
Okay, thank you. So can you just tell us what happened here? Because the plans that were approved had the ramp on it and demonstrated code compliance? No? That's not correct?
No, so those plans were to be, that's what my architect made for the accommodations if we were to put a ramp there. When I purchased that building, that was already done before me. It was done, converted to commercial. It just wasn't within the town. So the town told me that I needed to come and try to get a variance for the handicap accessibility in order to make it fully compliant. Everything meets up to code within the town. This is the only part that's missing. So
All
that's
right,
what happened. So I didn't do any of the construction.
I'm thoroughly confused. So I have from the submission here, I have a permit was issued in 2024 with no CO. Was that your application or was that?
Yes, that was our application.
Okay. And on that application, did you demonstrate code compliance for accessibility? Or what was part of that build-out permit? Was that any work at all or?
Yes, I did the bathroom. I did the bathroom on the first floor to make it handicap accessible.
Canary, can I speak here?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Oh, with regard to the ramp.
Can you name and address and all that good
Sure.
stuff there, Mr. Bill?
Bill Shearer, Island Design Architects, Shoreham, New York.
Can you hear him okay? He's a little muffled.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill, I think you need a better mic there.
Try again. It's
You have a headset?
Bill Shearer, Island Design Architects, Shoreham, New York.
All right, give it a shot. Sounds like you're in a tin can.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So at the time this was put in just to get estimates. We had no idea what this could potentially cost, but it was like, well, let's see. And unfortunately, this building has a basement that caused footings to have to be dug deeper. And so when we got the prices, we realized, wow, this is, very expensive. And, it wasn't something that was committed to, although it was necessary to be shown in order to get a permit, to get a change of occupancy.
Yeah, but obviously,
Then the cost was determined.
So who was burdened with the change of occupancy? Was that this particular use or was it a prior tenancy?
So prior tenancy, or prior occupancy, someone was in there using the building as an office without any permits, without a CO.
All right, so Ms.
It
Fernandez
had existed
inherited,
that way for many years.
so you inherited this mess to change from a
I
residence to a B, and then you're proposing only
Yes.
to you did the handicap bathroom? Is that, it's done already?
I did do
Okay.
that.
And then at some point along the way, the building department said you need accessibility, and then these drawings were created?
So yes, because I want to make it completely commercial. I want it to be on paper that this is a commercial property. It isn't a commercial zoning. So I just want to do the right stuff because the person who owned it before didn't do the right thing. And I'm not somebody that's able to walk into something and feel guilty or feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything.
Well, you just bear with us. We're trying to get the path that led you to today. So if you were filing for an alteration rather than a change of occupancy, this is a different story with accessibility. If you're now trying to get the change of occupancy legalized, then it's a different code path than an alteration. So it sounds to me like you inherited a change of occupancy and you're required to put an
Right.
accessible entrance in, and you don't want to do it because
Right.
it's too expensive. And you're looking for alternative
Right.
means. Okay.
Was there
Yes.
any consideration, or did the architect look at a less expensive type ramp? One of the aluminum
We
ramps
did.
that go in with
Yeah,
a short foundation?
it still will be just as expensive because where the front of the house is where they have the, what do you call it? The drainage. And the drainage will be under technically where the ramp is, even if it is aluminum, even if it is wood or anything. And that will obviously cause flooding if we put the ramp over that. So they have to redo the drainage and move it up higher to another location. So they have to dig in and make a whole new drain system there in order for the water to flow. And that's very, very costly. And I feel like that's a huge construction for I guess that means. So we did look into that because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I could just put ramp and that would solve all the problems, but they told me no, it would just be just as expensive.
Since the grade, for some reason, and I guess I can't see all the grading but it seems that the drainage could be blocked as it is with the ramp.
Yeah.
Even with a ramp, you could configure that, much better without a deep foundation. The other option I see is doing a sidewalk around to the side and then using a ramp down from the landing and the side door toward the back, which is only a short elevation. The grade is higher in the back. So a very short ramp in the back would also work.
Excuse me, the grade is much lower in the back.
Well, there's 3 steps up to the door in the front, but only 1 in the back, in the side.
On the side. Did you explore that, Bill? Because it
It's
seems
a-
like you go around a bit.
It's a steeper step on the side, and immediately when you go past that little platform on the side, there's a steep grade down towards the back. So yes, we did put potentially a ramp there, but there's only a 13-foot drive. We shouldn't conform to town requirements for the driveway.
Okay, hold on. We can't hear you, and there's somebody else talking, so it's really muddying what you're saying. If everybody can mute their mics and let Mr. Shearer speak, that'd be great. Bill, unless that's in your office in the background.
No, it's not in my office.
I don't know if they,
No, there's another phone
Jared
that's
thinks that they want us to be there, actually be
on.
there. I don't think they want us to be there. I told them they're probably.
There we go.
There you go.
That's better.
What was that?
Okay,
Can
there you
hear
go.
me better?
All right, please repeat what you just said about the grade.
Yes, so the grade slopes, rather steeply towards the rear part of this property. We did look at, potentially trying to put a ramp there, but the length of that ramp would be impossible. Plus, the driveway is only 13 feet wide. We wouldn't pass muster with the town as far as the width of that drive to get to the parking area.
So Bill, is there no way to put a curb ramp in the corner of that curved curb? And then just go up to the one rise? It should be like,
It would be very steep because there's a grade differential of 21 inches. If we comply with code, that means we need 21 feet of ramp. So
I think existing buildings, you could do 1 in 10, correct?
yeah, so
But only for a certain.
Yeah, for certain rides.
a little bit less. Not
So
much
you
less.
you explored the side entrance and it's not possible to put a ramp in there?
Correct.
So my concern here, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would not have been issued a permit without a handicap accessible entrance and a change of occupancy classification. So without this ramp, you would not have been able to obtain a permit or change the bathroom on the inside. Right?
No, we do have a permit.
With a
No.
ramp, with a
No.
handicap accessible ramp.
Without this ramp or without a code variance.
Yes. So what does the building permit, what do the building permit plans show? Do they show a handicap accessible entrance?
They do.
Yes.
Well, this is the approved plan here in front of us.
Right, so the town of Huntington informed me that those plans for the handicap accessibility could be waived if the variance through New York State is approved.
Right.
Was it picked up in the early stages, or is this something that they're asking us to rescue them because they missed something? Or is it something that?
No, I think,
They didn't miss it
I think
because
I'm just asking.
they approved it with the ramp.
Oh, but it sounded in the beginning of the testimony that there was an approval without the ramp being shown. And then, but I guess. that
no,
was-
no, there was No, there was no approval. They put it in so we could do the work. But then after we got all the estimates and everything, it's very, very costly. And then they know that. And then they said the only thing we can do
Okay.
is if you get the approval through New York State, we will approve it on our end. Because we agree that it's very excessive and you have all the accommodations needed for patients for the town of Huntington. So that's what they're saying. So they didn't approve anything. This was just a permit to do the job. It's a building permit to do the work, which I did the bathroom. So I'm just missing the front.
Yeah,
And then I asked them if there's anything I can do about the front with the handicap accessibility. And they said, we can't do anything on our end unless New York State approves first, and we're more than happy to do it on our end.
Yeah, so they identified that to achieve code compliance, you're required to put accessible ramp in, which you did, and you got the permit, and now it's too expensive to put in.
Right, but if you look at the official variance questionnaire, number 13, the code official is stating that they do not support this request.
He's opposed to the granting of a variance.
The granting of it.
But-
And I truly respect what you're saying, that it is expensive. We all know that construction these days is very expensive, but the idea of the accessibility when you're making modifications to a building is to be able to have even an employee that may be working with you have accessibility and the ability to have someone get into the building properly.
Yes. And I'm saying I could have those things with the portable ramp if, that could be another means, because that would cost less for me to have a portable ramp if needed. It's available on site. People will be there available to help. I'm more than happy to do something like that, and compared to doing a whole construction that will be very invasive for something that, again, like I said, 50% of this business is virtual. And mental health counseling as a whole and a practice, I'm not a medical facility where we're doing medical practices and all these procedures. It's more than 50% of the population for mental health. That's including employees and clients coming in. So the town, I'm surprised that he wrote that, because he was the one that recommended me to do this. He was the one to told me to do the hearing. He was the one that said, go ahead, give it a shot. Like, I'm more than happy to support you. And he did that write-up. So I don't know why it says that. But I'm trying to do the best that I can. And if you go down East Main Street, all of Huntington, there's barely any offices. Town of Huntington is old. I don't see accessibility in medical buildings and medical offices. So why should I be penalized for something that I'm giving accessibility? I'm doing all that I can. I could provide telehealth. I could provide office. I could provide, phone. I can even do we could go to the park if that's what they wanted to do. So like, I have every way of supporting a client. It's been 10 years in business till this day. I have yet to have anybody who says I couldn't have access to a building.
So what's hurting you? It's the change of occupancy, because the stuff you're talking about in the town, they're old buildings, they're not pre-existing, non-conforming, and there's alterations. If this was an alteration, there's this thing called the 20% rule where maybe you could do the math and opt out of the ramp. But the change of occupancy is really the punitive aspect of this, because you're going from an R residential to a business, and it is in perpetuity our decision. So even if you leave and go out of business and another business comes in, and you've got this temporary ramp you're proposing, and we approve that, now, is that really, that's opening a lawsuit where it's not access with dignity? Someone's got to call, you put this flimsy ramp in, and they got to use that, and they feel like, this is not.
So how is this different? So what I'm trying to understand, how is this different from an office, which I know I can think of one in Bethpage that I was going to buy at one point, and they said that they were grandfathered in for handicap accessibility, but there is no way for a wheelchair to get in there. So how won't that be a lawsuit?
It's very complicated. This whole grandfather concept, if it's got to go into when the approval of the building was, and every permit
I
subsequent
know,
to
but
that.
just for a patient going in, they're trying to get accessibility. If they look up and it says, oh, I can go in, let's say, there's no way of them getting in. They were just grandfathered in. How is that any different?
Well, the way the code is set up, and it's very complicated, but the way the code is set up is over time, these old buildings get improved by building applications. And those are alterations. You have a change of occupancy. You're changing the whole use. The way the state code is set up, when you change occupancy, you have to provide this. Like, there's really.
Yes.
You know, so the alterations of old buildings, it's a different path in the code, and that's what I mentioned before, that you might be alleviated from doing this, but I don't see that. I think you need to work on a cheaper design to get accessibility. I mean,
So
$47,000.
what would you consider, what would be a cheaper design?
You
Because I
have
really,
you have your architect with you, and I think that's something that would, not the design for you, but I don't know.
No, I
Come through the
understand.
back, I don't know. We'll bite the bullet and
I think-
get it done.
Yeah, as I mentioned, there are other materials, there's wood, there's aluminum, which
we
is
did.
common.
I've gone
I
through all those
still-
materials as well.
I just don't see how this major foundation work is required for a ramp, for a much lighter ramp.
Bill, can you explain the dwelling and what needs to be changed to put the ramp in the front?
We could use other materials. We could potentially look at aluminum. However, it's still gonna be 20 feet of ramp or so. that
What
might-
about, Bill, what about like a $15,000 platform lift rather than a $47,000 handicap concrete ramp? Can you do like one of those small little platform lifts? I know they have maintenance issues, but that could just,
Do that outside.
you could put it outside. Yeah, we do it all the
Yeah,
time.
they're looking for the exterior. That's something that we considered.
Yeah, you'll see them in a lot of libraries and stuff, for these old libraries or old buildings, and it's definitely achieves code compliance. And then, could add value to your building. Maybe it's in the back, so you don't see it from the street. You could put an accessible parking space in the back and then have it as a lift, but then you gotta figure out a way to get into the reception. So it's designed.
It can't really go in the back because the back is much lower.
I'm just talking about a platform lift, so you can get those, they can go 50, 60 inches,
Yeah,
make up for the grade without constructing all this stuff.
I think it's something that, just speaking out loud, thinking out loud here, I would almost rather see it in the front because for security reasons, I think it's just, for security reasons, it's better to have it in the front.
Right, because the side is, the back is not technically the back. The second door is on the side of the building, not on the back of the building.
Yeah. No, I think
And that's where the
most-
parking, that's where cars go through to get to the parking lot.
I think
on
if
the
it were to
side.
be, I think if it were to be a lift, the place would be to put it in the front.
So when you have patrons come for counseling,
Mhm.
they'll
Yes.
park in the back and they'll walk up the narrow drive to go to the front door?
They park in the back, or there's 2 parking spots in the front as well.
Okay, so the
Also
back is really
street
more for,
parking as well.
so the
Mhm.
back is more for staff members?
So we actually, our next door neighbor allows our staff to park next door. So all our staff parks next door, so that way there's enough space for clients to have space in the back parking.
Okay,
The 2 front parking spots is 1 handicap spot.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, and an accessible aisle next to that spot.
Yes.
yes.
yeah, which looks great. It's code compliant, but I see the hardship. Did we talk
Yes.
about how much money you spent to renovate the project? For your
For
business?
the bathroom,
For whatever work you did?
it was just a bathroom. Everything else was already done, like Bill mentioned beforehand, the past tenants and owners, they already did the building. I just had to do the bathroom, and the bathroom was 10,000.
So you bought the building without a CO? Is that correct?
Right, because because I knew it was in commercial zoning, and they told me that, it was an office space. And yeah,
Yeah, but you inherited a mess here because, how did they clear title when you don't have a CO on a purchase? So that's an whole nother conversation, but you got this situation now where we're trying to talk with you and see if there's a way,
and I appreciate it.
another way to get accessibility without $47,000 section
Right.
concrete ramp, you know.
I agree.
What, doesn't the fact that Teneri has explained that she has other ways of accommodating, you know, her clients, doesn't that weigh into this a bit?
It may a little bit, but as Rob explained before, when we grant a variance, that's in perpetuity, and goes with whoever you sell the building to eventually. So what this has to be a decision that's made based on the commercial use of this building without regard to the type of business.
Right. So
That
can it be
doesn't make
considered like an office space use only? Because that's really what it is, office space
That
use.
doesn't make sense, because if you say it's in perpetuity, what the code says is anytime there's a change of use, they've got to file and they've got to comply with the code that's in effect. So,
Yeah, but you're asking for relief, Bill. You're
Yeah,
asking
so-
for
so
a
let-
variance.
so just hear me out. If,
Okay.
if, let's say Teneri sells the building and she sells it to some sort of mercantile occupancy where there's no appointments, no, you know, private access. It's public access. Anybody can walk in to purchase whatever they're selling there. That's a whole different situation. The town would then say, you know, your change of use, you got to file. Oh, here's a code. The code says you got it. It's a change of use that triggers compliance with accessibility.
Right.
The problem
Which
is
is
it's
true.
not a change of occupancy.
It's not. B2M is not.
No,
So,
not a change of occupancy, it's a change of use. And it's a
change of use.
to a mercantile use.
it's not considered a change of use in the code.
No, but the town, I don't understand that. If any change of use triggers filing for permits and getting a new CO,
It may trigger a change, a refiling of permits, but it's not going to change the code requirements. It's only a change in occupancy in the code that would trigger changing the code requirements.
I don't get that, because you read a section of the code before that said, you know, that the change of use.
Yes, because I remember when I was going to purchase a
Components.
property, it was a filming, it was like a photo studio, and it was residential at first, and they changed it to commercial. And the town, I remember, asked me, they said, well, you need to change occupancy. You need to file an application for new tenant. Even though they approved their commercial property, I would have still had to do an application with that property at that space. So I do remember that.
Because
When I was
that's
going through
also going from residential to commercial. That's a change of code
No,
occupancy.
that one, what happened with that one, it was commercial. It was fully commercial. They did this change in the past, but everything was approved from residential to commercial. But then once it was changing from a photography studio to a counseling practice, the town was requiring to do a new tenant application for occupancy.
That's not uncommon.
Yes, that's correct.
It's a change of
So
tenancy.
that's what I mean. Like, so in this situation, if I was changing tenants, if I sold the property, they would still have to go through that application.
Right, but the argument hasn't been made in reference to the fact that handicapped accessibility would be required, and to make the statement that, well, I don't have people that will be coming that need that.
No, and I agree. That's not why I said at this time I haven't, but I'm sure there could be.
I understand.
Yeah, let him finish his point.
I
sorry.
understand, and again, like I said before, I respect it, but I believe from looking at what I'm seeing on the plans, that there is a solution that you would not have to move your dry well. I think you can come up with accessibility less than what has been proposed, achieving the intent of the code. That's my That's my position.
And to clarify a little bit about the change in tenancy and change in occupancy, when you applied to legalize the change in occupancy that happened without a permit, that's a change in occupancy classification. You apply to change from residential or residential to legalize the commercial use. So that triggered this section in the code. But first,
Right.
if you go and someone else rents this place or purchases it after you have obtained your CO and practiced for a few years, then that, if they go and put mercantile or business, that is not a change in occupancy classification the way it is from residential to business. That
Right.
becomes alterations. And that triggers another section in the code.
Level 1 alteration, level 2 alteration. And there's just
Okay.
different accessibility requirements based on the magnitude of the alteration.
You were allowed to do the change in, to legalize the change in occupancy
Okay.
classification
That's understandable.
by providing a handicap accessible entrance. There are other ways, and I
So,
wanted to make a clarification between change in occupancy and change in tenancy down the road.
Okay.
And then the decision of
Thank
this
you.
board, rides with the property. 5 ownerships from now. It'll be in that property file.
Right.
And it's, you got relief for accessible ramp or whatnot, or you didn't. Any decision of this board will ride with the property. So that's why, I mean, we're hearing you out on your hardship and all the mitigating factors you are proposing, but the decision of this board is in perpetuity for this application and this property.
No
May
matter,
want
no
to go back and
matter
just
the
relook
use.
at.
Excuse me, Mr. Sheeran?
No matter the use.
Yeah, based on this
As
application
long
today.
as it's commercial, yes.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in a pickle here. I mean, I'm not a big fan of granting accessibility variances. I know there's a group of attorneys out there that love to sue. And, if there's any remote appearance of discrimination, you're subject to getting dragged into lawsuits. So we try and, take it seriously, totally understand the hardship of the cost. And, we're talking today to see if there is a possible way to
Oh, yes.
get accessibility without dropping that big coin. It's a
Right.
tough one. It's a small little building.
It's very small. Yeah. Well, it's not super small, but it has 4 rooms in the first floor that we use. And like
And
I
there's no
said,
way
we
to
only
go back.
probably see like 3 people at a time, maybe in person, or even 2 at a time.
Like the first floor is what, about 800 square feet?
Yeah.
If it's
There's no
that
way to
much.
go back to the seller and get them to absorb some of this cost? Because I think you were sold a building that wasn't completely code-compliant. You under the guise of a commercial use, but they didn't get to the finish line.
I know. In their mind, I did try to do that, and they said that, oh, like kind of what one of your representatives said there, just get a aluminum ramp. It's only like 10,000 you'll spend, but it's not just that. It's all the construction that goes into it. So they see it as like it wasn't it's not expensive. They're like, you're only gonna spend like 10,000. Like it's not that big of a deal. So they didn't really want to hear me out on that. So there's no way, since the side entrance is lower, for us to use the portable ramp there?
So
Just
the-
have like a ramp there where it could where it can just kind of go up if whenever needed? Because like I said, we're by appointments only.
So
So that really,
I may,
Yeah,
let's
wait for the finish, yeah.
if I may, it is a barrier-free concept, meaning that you shouldn't ask for assistance. They shouldn't ask for you to add something when they get there.
Like ring a doorbell and help me in, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So handicap accessibility is barrier-free with dignity, like you said, Rob, where I am treated the same way as any other able person. So
Yeah.
that's where you can get sued for using something that is portable, that requires assistance.
Do you have any kind, is it pre-manufactured, this ramp? Is it got like an ADA approval designation on it or something?
It does. I could pull it up quickly if you're okay with that.
Okay, sure, why not?
Is there a way for me to share my screen or no?
I think so.
Okay. Let's see.
You can go slower.
Okay, I'm just pulling it up now.
Would we be more likely to get a variance that's related to parking?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I think I know where he's going.
Variance for,
Local zoning variance.
I'm just trying to, and I'm not unsympathetic or, not, I'm understanding about accessibility. My dad had his leg amputated and, it's an issue that we deal with, so, but anyway, I'm trying to just think of the parameters here that I might consider that might come into play in figuring out a way to get some kind of accessibility. So that being said, what if that accessible aisle, if I couldn't fit 8 feet, if it had to be a little narrower, would that be something that you would be more likely to consider?
A narrower access aisle?
Yeah, so I've got a 9-foot parking space and 8-foot stripe there beside it. Which
Used
is
to be
what
5 feet,
the
right?
code requires for a single spot.
you're talking about narrowing the side.
That 8-foot part that's striped,
The access aisle,
yes.
which is now, I think 2003, it was 5 feet, right? Before 2003?
Yeah.
So how would that be helpful? I'm missing it.
Yeah, Bill, how would
I
that be
don't know,
helpful again?
I don't know, I'm asking if that's something, if you're telling me, no, we absolutely have it.
Well, I'm trying to
that's
understand what
that's
you would
out of the
gain by,
equation. I can't consider another way that I might fit a ramp in there,
so you're trying to avoid the scissor to reduce railings and do a more simple ramp and,
I honestly don't know, I haven't,
Well, yeah.
I haven't sketched it out on paper yet. I'm just trying to think of what, how I can, what flexibility there is in these puzzle pieces.
I mean, I'd be willing to listen to your presentation on reducing that to 5 feet and what the gain is.
Okay.
But
so
I can't personally say, yeah, I'm good with reducing that access aisle.
No, and
But,
I wouldn't just indiscriminately do that. I would come back to you with, a concept that maybe, you might consider.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tight site.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I was playing architect, Bill, I think a platform lift is probably your best scenario. It's the least impact. It's a small footprint. It gets the job done. And it's probably less than half the price of your $47,000 concrete ramp. I just did one like 2 weeks ago.
No, I know, but I tell you, I wish I had $100 for every exterior lift I've ever seen that's out of commission.
But put a cover on it until it's needed and take it over.
I think
Yeah.
I think my inclination would be a aluminum ramp on a slab on grade, very simple.
I agree.
Permanent.
You're saying where would that? You're saying the aluminum ramp on the side of the building?
Same location.
In the front, same location.
You don't even have to
Oh.
move your drywall from the
Yeah.
point, because you're open on the bottom.
It's very utilitarian looking, but it's a lot less expensive. Yeah.
You put some shrubbery, make it look good.
I don't know if
Why don't you
have
vet,
interest.
why don't
But
you
I
vet that
thought,
out?
because I was told that would cover the drain in the bottom. Isn't that what it is?
I don't see a drain there.
There's a catch basin. If you look at the photo, there's a catch basin right at the corner.
We could probably figure out a way to straddle that.
Oh,
It
over
would just
there.
be- It would just be,
Yeah, you could straddle that. Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
it would just be a difficult matter when it comes time to clean out the drain. You'd have to move some
It-
things around, but yeah, that's a potential.
It's a good proposal, Bill, because I think you only need like little pier footings for the supports. You don't need to excavate the whole thing and do
Yeah.
frost step, continuous footings, and you definitely save some money. How much I couldn't tell
Because
you.
I
but-
remember I mentioned that to the contractor, and that's why he said no. He's like, because I would have to still remove everything, because then you're gonna have issues with flooding, is what he told me.
Well, yeah, he's speaking from a liability standpoint there.
Right.
You know, he doesn't
That's
wanna be-
because originally that's what I said. I was like, just give me an ugly ramp. I don't care. Like I just put something. And he was like, no, it's not that easy, Teneri. He said like the footing will go right above it and
Well-
it's going to block.
He wouldn't want to be blamed for any kind of flooding that might occur, but maybe we could figure out a way
Okay.
we could put a curb in there or something something precautionary to divert water, so it doesn't go towards the building.
Yeah, so you heard our feedback. I mean, we wish
Okay.
it better news, but,
Joey.
so we think that you might be able to find an alternative solution and you're gonna come back to us, or you're gonna get code compliance with the town? Or you give it a shot?
Canary?
I'm not sure. I've never done this before. I don't know what route to go.
If you provide accessibility, you don't need to come back to us.
Right,
Provide
exactly.
aluminum, it doesn't need to be, super aesthetically pleasing. You just demonstrate compliance with the 1 and 12, you got the handrails. And you can do it with this aluminum configuration you're talking about. Minimal ground impact, no drainage implications.
Why don't we adjourn it?
Yeah,
Either adjourn.
We could
Yeah, that's what
adjourn
they
it
get.
and not come back if we can resolve it.
Yeah, we can keep it open until you, figure out what you want to do. If you can get compliance, then you don't need to come back and
Okay.
see us.
Right. Okay. So we
Make
could do
sense?
that. That's,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay,
Make the motion.
Good. Any other questions? No? Something's on your mind. Like your haircut.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll second the motion.
Good. So a motion by Mr. Pavone, we have a second by Mr. Hames, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck. Wish you the
Thank
best.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, this is, I think, the third and final hearing from a holdover from May 15th, 2025 hearing, petition number 2025-0309. Petitioner is Mr. Jared Mandel, RA, for Jason DiGregorio. All right, I'll read this into the record again. This petition pertains to an existing detached three-story, not three-story, right? Two-story,
Yes.
single-family dwelling of wood frame construction. The dwelling is approximately 8,429 square feet in total gross floor area and is located at 3 Seashell Lane, Fort Salonga, Town of Smithtown, County of Suffolk, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR, Part 1220, 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.3.2. Do I read this all back in the record? Can I just cite the section? Because it's rather lengthy. I mean, I'll give it a shot. Buildings and structures erected within coastal high hazard areas and coastal A zones shall be elevated. Can you please mute your mics, please? Thank you. Shall be elevated so that the bottom of the lowest horizontal structural member supporting the lowest floor, except for piling, pile caps, columns, grade beams, and bracing, is elevated to or above the base flood elevation plus 2 feet, or the design flood elevation as determined in accordance with section R322.1.4 through R322.1.4.1, whichever is higher. And 19 NYCRR, Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.3.3, elevation requirements. Buildings and structures erected in coastal high hazard areas and coastal A zones shall be supported on pilings or columns and shall be adequately anchored to such pilings or columns. The space below the elevated building shall be either free of obstruction, or if enclosed with walls, the walls shall meet the requirements of section R 322.3.5. Pilings shall have adequate soil penetrations to resist the combined wave and wind loads, lateral and uplift. Water loading values used shall be those associated with the design flood. Wind loading values shall be those required by this code. Pile embedments shall include consideration of decreased resistance capacity caused by scour or soil strata surrounding the piling. Pile systems design and installation shall be certified in accordance with the section R 322.3.9. Spread footing, mat, raft, or other foundations so that support columns shall not be permitted with soil investigations that are required in accordance with section R 401.4 indicate that soil material under the spread footing, mat, raft, or other foundation is subject to scour or erosion from wave velocity flow conditions. If permitted, spread footing, mat, raft, or other foundations that support columns shall be designed in accordance with ASCE 24. Petitioner requests relief from the requirements stated in RCNY section R 322.3.2 and R 322.3.3. Okay, so let me just read my notes if you don't mind before you get back into it. When we last spoke, we talked about having a representative from the town either cite the section of the code or what the code variance was being requested for. And the reasoning, I think with regards to the lowest horizontal member, I think.
So was a question about that.
And that tied into maybe correcting and getting a signed and sealed elevation certificate, which we did not have. And possibly corrected to further expand on the definition of what the lowest horizontal structural member is on this particular project. And structural drawings we asked for, and anything else? Those are my notes.
And then I think after talking with Josephine on the actual, we were vague on not knowing the actual relief we were asking. It actually, we're no longer asking for relief on the horizontal member. It's on some other items that we were misinterpreted, like. So I think it's on fill, right? It's the fill and the.
Okay, yeah, state your name.
And the regrading and the
Josephine,
walls.
if you can, just state your name and,
Sorry.
yeah, and then we'll get you going.
Josephine Castelli, Senior Building Plans Examiner, Town of Smithtown, 23 Redwood Lane, Smithtown, New York.
Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right, let's dig into it.
All right, so I sent an email to CJ on May 28th detailing what we felt they needed relief from. One was 322.3.3. The underneath, the freeboard was not free of an obstruction. There's concrete wall and fill. The walls of the attached garage below base flood elevation were not breakaway, and then more than minor regrading was done. And that would be under 322.3.2.
Okay. Was there any formal denial or anything given or anything in writing, or was it just an email to CJ?
An email to CJ,
Okay.
and he'd asked me
Do we
to,
have that for the record, or
Yes.
we have it? Do I have it?
I
Is it
sent you an
package?
email.
do you want, I have another copy. Do you want this one?
Do the board members have it?
I think she sent the email out earlier
Today?
Figures that I
Yes.
did.
Today,
Yeah, today.
Today I didn't check.
I haven't looked at my emails today. I've been busy at a code hearing.
So that's it.
That's it.
You didn't get up at 5:30 like me? Okay,
At the April 26th, 2025.
yeah, so we have an email from the town building department to CJ Ajoku, May 28th. Just May 28th?
The email was on May 28th at 11:59 a.m. Yes.
Okay. As per our conversation, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but this would be Exhibit A. Will we have other exhibits? Is that the right? Let me just double check.
Would it be okay to
Okay.
walk us?
I'm sorry?
Would it be helpful if you can walk us through this email instead of us reading it?
Okay. I'm just gonna read it. As per a conversation on May 27, 2025, the town of Smithtown believes that the as-built construction of the De Gloria residence at 3 Seashell Lane, Fort Salonga, would require state variance, see below. Also, while conducting a regularly scheduled community assistance visit for the National Flood Insurance Program, the DC personnel also flagged the issues identified below. Number one, the dwelling does not comply with the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, section R322.3.3, in that the dwelling is in a coastal high hazard area, VE 13, and the area below the dwelling is not free of obstruction. Rather, it is enclosed with concrete walls and infilled with soil. Number two, does that just apply to the garage,
No, the whole dwelling.
the whole dwelling? Okay. Detached garage does not comply with R322.3.5, walls below design flood elevation. The approved plans and accompanying certification from the project engineer demonstrate that the attached garage would comply with this section. However, the as-built conditions differ in that flood vents were removed, and the town has not received any documentation demonstrating that the sections of wall below the required elevation 15 and AVD 88 are designed to break away. Number three, the land outside the walls was regraded, raising the grade around the dwelling 1 to 3 feet. The town is seeking clarification from the state board as to whether such regarding constitutes minor grading. I'm sorry, not regarding, regrading, constitutes minor grading as permitted per 322.3.2 elevation requirements. If it does not constitute minor grading, then a variance of this section would be required as well. And as I also mentioned in the phone call yesterday, the town has received certifications from the project engineer attesting that the dwelling and attached garage were designed in compliance with the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, section R322. We would like to have the case reheard for the July 17th agenda. Thank you very much. So where do we start?
Can we start with, we're negating the original code sections that were, variances were requested to?
The 3.2?
Oh, the original, so
On the original, the
below
R 22, yeah, 0.3.2 and 0.3.3,
No, 3.3 is still,
okay.
is it still in play, or the 3.2 is regarding the regrading? So that would still apply.
Okay.
The only thing that was dropped is 3.5.
And you added an additional request due to the walls on the garage, correct? 3.5? Garage does not comply with R 322.3.5, walls design below design flood elevation. The approved plans and accompanying certification from the project engineer demonstrated that the attached garage will comply with this section. However, the as-built conditions differ in that flood vents were removed. So the 3.5 report is relative to the flood vents? And I remember, and then not break away.
You're saying as-built condition, is this house completed?
Yes.
It's not CO'd yet.
So this
I
was.
mean, all the photos we have are from early on in construction, huh?
The house is finished.
Yeah, prior hearing the testimony, it was, yeah, he conveyed that it was finished.
So these are as-built drawings that you were doing.
I have a copy of the as-built plans, but
So I wanted to ask you, because I know you wanted to see the structure drawings. I mean, do you want to
Yeah.
take this one by one and just go through it? Because there's some definitions here about the regrading we need to talk about. What constitutes minor regrading?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I think we need to just methodically go
Yeah.
one at a time.
But also, we had asked for structural drawings. Why weren't they submitted to us?
well, I bought them today. I didn't.
Well, it's not yours, that was not your responsibility.
But thank you.
I
for
would,
bringing-
I would like
My
to ask,
copy though, so you can't keep
yeah,
them.
no. I would like to ask Mr. De Gregorio why we don't have structural drawings.
Yeah, I don't have access to the approved set from Smithtown. I only have the email that I have, which doesn't show their stamps on it.
Well, how about the design, whether it's approved or not? We should have submitted structural drawings.
Can I jump in? Just a quick thing. We were I do have the set, and if it needs to be.
Jared, you gotta state your name. You
Oh,
gotta state your name. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
this is Jared Mandel, architect, address and everything, 25 Hillside Avenue, Williston Park, New York, 11596.
Thank you.
Just stepping in, because I have the set of drawings, I don't have the stamp set from the building department. Which maybe I was under the wrong impression that it was gonna be supplied by the building department. But I do have the set in front of me actually right now, if it needs to be emailed or anything like that.
So we had Mr. Bennett here. He did a nice presentation talking about, his findings and how he interpreted the code and all. And then we really were trying to get you to share your screen at that time. And then we said, when you're gonna come back, just make sure you bring the structural drawings. I mean,
Or submit them to us,
or submit them to us, and it's not part of the submission.
because the structural is nothing like shown on the architectural plans.
But I
Yeah,
thought
so
that we were taking out the reason why I didn't know if it was crucial, and of course I'll submit whatever is needed, but from my understanding, the lowest horizontal member has now been taken out of this equation.
Whether it is or it isn't, we had asked for structural drawings, so we have correct drawings that show the construction of the house.
Let's try to advance this hearing.
Yeah,
And we
okay.
really appreciate you bringing them. It helped. So let's see if,
Request from your request. for variance.
would you move your water there?
Okay.
We'll talk about that while you do your review.
Because the last time we were unsure of what the variance was even for, so once it became evident that it was related to the structure, that's why, I have it, but I didn't know how relevant it was.
But so that right now has been removed from the variance request. So we have one less variance. What other
Yes.
variances? do we need?
It's
We could
related
isolate
to
it
Phil.
one at a time. That would be helpful.
Okay. So, the one variance, from what I understand, I don't have access to that email. There's no official denial letter. There's some sort of email that was handed in today that I don't have access to.
Darren, you were copied on that, May 28th, midday,
May 28th.
something you could look up.
Okay, I'll look it up right now. That came from, you, right?
Yes.
Hold on. This side, 28th. Yeah, 27th. Okay, I have one from the 27th. And the next one I have is from, oh, here's one from the 28th. Okay, this is the one, 28th, May 28th, 11:59. We're looking at the same one.
I think so. The subject line was 3 Seashell Lane, Port Salonga requested follow-up email for board.
May 28th, 11:59, is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
Does it-
So the first one that we have here, dwelling does not comply with 322.3 with the VE 13 high hazard and area below the dwelling not free of obstruction, rather enclosed with concrete walls infill with soil. So that was the one we talked about, that the structural engineer gave a detailed explanation at the last hearing about why that was constructed that way. I don't know if you want me to elaborate more on reiterating what he had said, and obviously I'd agree with, because he's the professional in that category of structural engineering. If you need me to touch on any of those subjects, from what I understood, was the best structural condition that could be presented with a grade beam system that was supported, that concrete walls were built upon, and there was fill that was put within the inside of the structure and wrapped around the structure. That was approved by the building department and was constructed that way, from what I understand.
So hold on, stay right there. So now saying it was approved from the building department and constructed, but yet we have a variance. What do we have? So if you could clarify, somebody
Yeah,
can
no
clarify.
problem. So, a former boss, we were getting pushback during plan review from the engineer because we were saying it doesn't comply with VE. We felt it was more of an AE type of construction. The former boss had told me to just get a letter from the engineer saying it would comply with flood zone, construction requirement, which I did. And unfortunately, the house was built to the plans. We were gonna let that go because, you know, I saw the issue, you know, how can you build to flood zone if the plans don't show that? But I was overruled unfortunately, which is no longer with the town. And, I got the letter, but then we had our every few year floodplain management audit from the DEC and it came up. So I do have a copy of that letter if you wanted to see it. I don't know if that was submitted with multiple copies, I don't know.
We could.
Thank you. Actually, I only have with those two copies, I apologize, but. Okay. So.
So what's the BFE and the DFE? The BFE is 13?
Yeah, we're in a VE AE 13, also in Illinois. So, you know, they should have built solely to VE construction requirements.
And what did they build to? The BFE is,
Well, the house is at the lowest structural member of the floor structure, not that low beam that's underground, is at 15 feet. The garage is below, I think it's about 18 inches. But, you know, it was graded up a bit. There's no breakaway walls.
Well, we have 5 flood vents. They'll just.
You put them back,
Oh, yeah.
not covered by the slab partially still?
No, I redid them.
You
based
fixed
on-
them, okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that.
I refixed them, so they
Yeah.
required, I had originally, flood vents in there as per plan, but they were a little low into the slab, restricting them by like 2 inches. So then I raised them all, so there's 5 flood vents, each flood vent allows 250 square foot of coverage. My garage is, I have 5, and my garage is only 1,000 square feet. And then in addition to that, I have 3 glass garage doors, 2 on the front, 1 on the back, and then another glass door. So the back wall, which is in the VE only, like on the calculations, is not only got the flood vents, but it has a glass garage door, which is 9 feet in width. And then it has a 3-foot glass door, which is 3 feet in width. So in the entire wall, in my theory was that it was breakaway, opposed to the one portion of it that is wood was not breakaway, because I didn't want to make the house have less structure at the time. I'm a builder by trade, so like for me, it's about doing a good job. So that in my head was a better job.
That's number 2 you're talking about, not number 1, just so we're clear. So I was addressing number 1, and then Jason right now is addressing number 2. So we're kind of talking about both of them at the same time.
So just to clarify the record, so in the future, when somebody looks at it, we're talking about the September 30th, 2023 RABCO letter to Miss Allison Murray, Principal Planner, to the town of Smithtown. That's correct. Is that correct? So that's what we're addressing now, this letter. So is that acceptable to the town at this moment?
Yes, it's not acceptable to the DEC. They want the structure to get a variance because they feel like it doesn't comply with chapter 322.
Stay there. So I think the last time when we met, that was one of the issues. Why was the DEC different than what the town had at that time alleged, rendered a decision that it was okay? And I think that's one of the questions we had.
During Sandy, that property didn't flood. The property next to it did because of the pond. There's an inlet to a pond.
fresh pond?
Fresh pond, yeah, that took substantial flooding. Mr. DiGrigorio's lot didn't flood, minor stuff, but nothing where there was any type of substantial damage. So, you know, we felt that it wasn't going anywhere, particularly because the majority of it truly is an AE, not BE. However, the DEC felt differently, so
So does the DEC still take the same position that they stated in the beginning?
Yes.
Or has that changed?
they haven't changed at all. They feel that there should not be the concrete foundation walls. They shouldn't have added the grading, there should be breakaway walls.
Did they issue a work permit for the project?
It wasn't, no,
No,
the house is not in their
it's not in
jurisdiction.
their, not from, not in their jurisdiction, we send people to the DEC when they're in, Wreck River corridor. He's just in a flood zone. He's not even in high groundwater
Or wetlands.
or wetlands.
Isn't there like a coastal hazard line where if you're a
Yeah,
landward,
100 feet out of it,
you're a landward of the coastal hazard? So there-
100 feet out of it.
Yeah,
One at a time, please. So there was no early trigger for the DC to conduct a review?
no,
So
they just happen to come in during a floodplain management audit that is routinely, we only have them every few years. I think other towns might have them yearly.
So have a
But
technical.
they express an opinion,
That's where I was going.
but
Yeah, that's the
there's,
regulatory.
they have no jurisdiction, you see.
Well, I guess they do in the sense of flood zone. But they do in the sense of flood zone. I mean, I believe they do.
In accordance with the
They're
town
all-
of Smithtown issuing a CO,
Right,
you're recognizing that this state entity, the DC, which issues work permits in flood zones, stuff like, that they would have a voice and you would respect that, but where's the vehicle or the conduit for the approval process with the DEC?
there isn't one. Yeah, that's a good question. It's only, like, we don't send people to the DEC for floodplain management issues, only if they're in what we call, well, only if it's Wreck River corridor, they're within 100 feet of tidal wetlands, freshwater wetlands. And he wasn't. It's sort of like the property's sort of on the cusp of a few things.
No, usually like, and I'm not an expert at
Yeah.
this, but usually there's a letter of jurisdiction or non-jurisdiction that you would send to them as an
Right.
applicant, not a town official.
Right, he'd give
The
it to
applicant, you
us.
had that,
Yeah,
and they would say, we don't have jurisdiction, or if they do, then you need a work permit, and then they would weigh in at that time.
right,
So now it's like an end of the game
it is.
encumbrance.
Because in our permitting process in the beginning or the application process, nothing got triggered to say we need something
Yeah,
from the
when I went with the plans originally to submit, I got a 40-point bulletin that I had to meet with requirements. That wasn't one of them.
However, the DEC audit, they're saying that that it should comply because they're looking at it from their jurisdiction in floodplain.
But if they have no jurisdiction and they didn't rule on this in the beginning,
Right.
You have FEMA flood insurance?
Something.
I have
well, that's where I'm going. So what,
Yeah.
if you were to, if the town were to approve this without us, what is the negative to the applicant or owner of the property when it comes to insurance? if any?
Possible the DEC may ticket them and fine them. This, as the DEC tends to do, like if you put a bulkhead in, say, and you don't have a permit with them, they tend to have quite substantial fines, my recollection.
So
But
how
they
is our,
have, they have no authority to levy
They-
a fine if they don't have jurisdiction.
Yeah, but it seems.
They
like
would with a bulkhead, but
do with being in a flood zone. This is something I'm gonna have to talk to the floodplain manager about and the town attorney. If my understanding from that audit meeting was that they do have jurisdiction because it was in a flood zone. But Smithtown in the past has not sent people to the DEC for flood zone issues. We've just required them to, like, his neighbor is also trying to build.
He's in the wetlands.
He's in
His
the
whole house is in the
wetlands.
wetlands.
And he's
that's
also.
all-
It's a very different deal.
Yeah, his is falling under what we feel is substantial.
I think there might be,
Overstepping?
I think there might be, as far as the board is concerned, look at the content of the request based on the state code. And then if we do grants, or if we decide to act, if you still have a DEC piece out there, you need to address irrespective of this board.
and
That's
that's
the way
what,
I would see it.
because I don't think anything we say will.
We're not gonna-
with DEC.
We're not gonna rule on any of their ordinances or their codes.
Right.
The issues at hand can specifically point back to your state code sections,
Yeah.
correct? So,
It's like the National County Fire Marshal, right? They have their own ordinance.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
they
we
have their
don't-
own
we
ordinance,
don't
but
give
you
relief on our
don't,
own.
you don't opine on their ordinance, that's correct.
Yeah, but here DC
It's a
is,
state agency.
yeah, and they're saying that you need a variance to a building code provision, not to a DEC.
No, I understand that, but what I'm trying to, in my mind, to come up to some reasonable solution for the owner, if we can, is that where is it in writing from the DEC that if we were to opine positive for the owner, what does that do for the owner? Or 6 months from now, does DEC come down and start issuing summonses anyway? So what I'm getting at is that the town, if the town allows it, which you can, I would assume, the
Provided
town,
we get the state variance.
I'm just trying to make this bulletproof, and that's where
Yeah.
there's no connection right
I
now.
think I could get something in writing from the DEC or attempt to. I think their point was they were auditing us from a flood zone management standpoint.
I
And
understand.
they pointed out to us that the construction was not compliant with the code. I would hazard to say that if a state board variance was obtained to provide relief from the 3 sections, the DEC would be satisfied.
Can you get that in writing for us?
I can try, absolutely.
Would that be,
I'm not sure the DEC would have any recourse to come back. with this kind of a-
No, they want us to rescue the interpretation. That sounds like they want us to just,
But there's
Yeah.
nothing to say that our variance is relieving the DEC from their obligation to enforce their rules.
But it's not there.
it all comes down to money. There's a claim.
But they're the ones who are enforcing that piece, right?
It was more they were just auditing us to see if we were complying with flood zone construction. They pointed out we weren't. To me, it seems like if a variance was granted for relief from the state building code, the DEC should be happy with that.
but
But
then wouldn't you have to, at every time that there's a structure being constructed in a flood zone, submit something to them to have them look at your plans, because they
no.
would be responsible.
No, it just so happened that every so many years audit came up.
No, that I understand
Yeah,
very well.
so, and they pointed out to us, oh, by the way, this house does not look like it complies with chapter 322 of the residential code in New York State. Which we were aware of, we got the letter to cover ourselves, but, our movement forward to try and rectify it was to ask the owner to get a board variance. And if a board variance is granted, I believe we would be happy with it. I believe the DEC would too.
This board has the authority to render a determination that, in their view, it's compliant.
Yeah.
Should the board make that view, I think Mr. Gavone's point is, will the DEC respect that and give you the credit that,
That we've complied with
that
the
you
audit.
complied?
I believe so because they just pointed out that this house doesn't comply with flood construction in the building code. They haven't asked us for anything specific otherwise. It was just, oh, but we were looking at the plans and they're like, oh, by the way, look, there's no free flow underneath the building. There should be, it looks like they graded up. By the way, you need to address this. It wasn't, we're not being fined. They haven't served us with anything formal. It was just the meeting, where they were coming by saying, how's your floodplain management going?
What about the
Courtney, Mr. Nation actually articulated what I'm trying to get at. I'm
Yeah,
trying to get a path, because it would make, in my eyes, if we were to do that, it then creates a record for the future that the applicant did come as per your request, and we resolve that without a variance, because if they have no jurisdiction technically on this matter, because the building construction is under your jurisdiction, and you gave us enough information from the engineer of record, what you constructed to meet the code.
so you're
No,
looking,
but they're saying it doesn't quite meet the code. We have to grant the variances
If we grant the
if we
variance.
grant the variances, then it complies with the code with variances, and the DEC has no reason to come back.
It should go to the local.
Yeah,
So does the local agree with the DEC's interpretation?
The local town.
The local,
Yeah.
you're the governing municipality.
Honestly, I've agreed from it from the beginning, but, you know, I was told to get a letter and,
Okay.
you know,
so basically,
So this is an engineered design
yeah.
that is different from what is stated.
Prescriptive in the code, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and in the code, unless I'm mistaken, if you get an engineered design, that makes sense.
ASCII,
They are,
one of the ASCIIs, right? That would be the engineer, ASCII 24.
ASCE 24, yes.
then that's how you accepted it and moved forward. The DEC is not inclined to accept an engineered design.
They weren't. I
Yes,
mean, we showed them
that's
a
the
letter.
problem.
Yeah, but they're also not inclined to object it, they're just giving their opinion,
Yes,
because it's out of their jurisdiction. They're giving their opinion,
Yeah, but that opinion
But
can
that
come back to
Right.
haunt you in the future.
right,
yes.
right.
Did you, I mean, I can through our floodplain manager, contact the DEC, and it looks like you might want something in writing from them saying if a variance is granted, they would be satisfied from their audit
I
standpoint.
don't know. I'll give you my opinion. I think the bottom line is that you give the DC weight or not. Like,
Okay.
if you agree with the interpretation, because they're the one kind of causing the problem, right? I think.
Yes, they are.
And then,
You have
so-
a CO already, actually, if it wasn't for that
so,
audit.
I mean, do you want to listen or not listen to them? You know, I think it's your interpretation of the code and what they demonstrated, do they comply? Or if you accept an engineer certification for the engineer design in accordance with the state code, the DC, I think if I was your architect and Jared, I mean, was there any point in time where you said you should file an L&J with the DEC to make sure? Because you are a tidal wetland type situation where you got a pond behind you, you got a sound on the other side. Maybe just double checking.
it's not a wetland situation.
Yeah, everything's out of the
It's
way.
surrounded by water. You go make sure you get an L&J and make sure they don't have jurisdiction,
What's an LNG?
a letter of non-jurisdiction.
Oh,
Right, that's a letter of non-jurisdiction.
And then that was their opportunity to weigh in. Now they got this end of the game
at
crap.
this point, though, where we are right now, I see a couple of paths. Number one, we just grant the variances and be done with it. Or two, sort of, take it as an appeal.
We talked about it at the original hearing. The appeal, Pat,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we didn't have enough information for that
I think one more question, I think
Well-
from the architect is that
back then.
if we were, and again, I'm not saying this is all done, but if we were to deny the variance, what would be the harm or the negative to the owner at that point in time? What I'm trying to figure out, is there a cost and what would the town then do? Do you have to lift the house? Do you have, what?
The
what's
most detrimental to the entire structure of the house.
Yeah, the
Uh,
house.
You'd be
Yeah.
saying the house almost has to come down to this point.
I get it. I'm just trying to create a record for you.
I'm just thinking because if it's an engineered design, then we could deny it on the basis of it complying with code as an engineered design.
I believe that the engineer has already written a certification letter saying that the construction even complies, not only his drawings, but that the construction that has been physically done complies. And I mean, again, that's his category of what he does every day. That's why we brought him in. And that's why even the owner and myself, just being in the industry, knew this was a custom specific site that was so unique to everything that we're all used to. And we brought in the best of the best to do that.
Yeah,
And
now
and
that-
Racco Engineering does notice very well.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
I know that. Yeah.
And looking at the drawings, which finally I see first of all,
I'm very-
and I would not have come to the conclusion I just came to without seeing the drawings. Now I can agree with that assessment.
This is like way overdone the foundation. I mean,
What's it, way overdone?
well, my point is like, it's like,
adequate. Definitely good.
yeah, it's good.
So that's why I'm saying, I think it needs code.
Were there, this post regrading done? That was not Mr. Bennett's purview?
Mr. Bennett's part of the pile, yeah, he made the pile detail.
The regrading I'm talking about, there was some minor regrading. We're adding a section of the code.
Regrading, then that goes into another thing. So then after the house was built, the concept conceptually is that then the grading, you would be able to grade to the house. And then after that, then we had a separate engineering company, which is Hayduck, which is a different company, who designed the grading, the topo, the grading, the dry wells, and the sanitary system.
I have those plans too.
And then we did that to exactly what was approved. And actually, the house, they made us add that they were having a back and forth on the town. It's not Josephine, it goes to another entity in Smithtown. It's an engineering, and they actually made me put 9 dry wells on the property, which you couldn't do unless you raised the grade. So it's the presentation has to do that in order to accommodate the approval of the drainage.
So were those drawings submitted to this?
Yeah, so prove the
No,
thing.
they submitted to this board.
No, right here.
I know they're here, but I
I
mean,
don't think so, no.
No,
so-
so we don't have access to this. Originally, the stamp set is something that we don't have in a PDF that we could send to you. We only have what we got done from each township. But then the approved set with the red lighting from the town of Smithtown, I don't have that electronically.
it might be advantageous for you to submit them, so that we can make them as part of the record.
Okay,
Right.
so you want both the pile plan and when you say stamp plans, you're talking
Well,
about
we
town
need
stamp,
stamp.
not
No,
design.
I'm just saying,
We don't need stamp.
One at a
plans.
time, guys.
We just need the plans, final plans.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression you guys were insistent on what was approved.
No,
Oh, okay.
They just need to be stamped by a design professional.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ideally, it should be.
Time out, I have a question. But the town did stamp those plans up being approved. I would prefer having those plans submitted as part of the record. Because it demonstrates that the town
They are-
reviewed them. So if somebody
Well,
comes
they are
back,
submitted to the town. I mean, we review plans all the time that are not.
no, I understand, but in this specific case, because of the oddity of this,
Yeah, this is a hardship to me because it was approved.
I think it just should be part of the record that
Right.
the engineering department, separate of the building department, did a review and provided their comments and you complied with it.
Yeah, and any relief I'm asking for is on approved stuff, not on something I did. I just follow the plans.
I agree. And if the board needs anything, if they need that plan digital now, obviously I would follow up with the approved plans, but I have them if you need them. I have them in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could submit those.
Yes, I will scan them and email them to CJ.
Jared might.
He won't have the stamps.
The town's,
Yes.
And
Yeah,
if I could have the plan in front of me.
yes, yeah, the one with the engineering.
that's what we tend to send them because everything we have is just,
Well, you.
So you never receive a copy of stamp plan?
I received copies, but I mean, they're 3 years in construction. So they're not exactly,
Save them.
I have them, but I'm
Official
saying,
documents.
and I don't have a scanner to scan a 3-foot set of prints. I don't have,
I don't like.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, Staples, yeah.
Do like,
It's $10 worth of.
Yeah.
Okay, about this breakaway wall stuff, because we have a certification here. That's just for the garage area.
Yes.
Now, are these glass garage doors, do they qualify as
They
breakaway?
do. So the glass on them is only 1/4 inch thick glass and it's not like, they are paper thin. So the pressure of that would break before any kind of foundation pressure. But
Is that in the
The
certification?
mechanism on.
I don't know, but in Rabco's design, we originally needed by the flood vents, aside from what I did. So I have 5 flood vents that open and close like the traditional
Yeah.
flood. That flood vent has 250 square foot of coverage per vent.
Yeah, I got you.
We did 5. which covers 1,200 square feet, we only have a 1,000 square foot garage. So when I do the garage door at 9, my other door at 3 foot on that back wall, I'm exceeding, way exceeding the allowable amount of pressure to come into that garage for relief.
So it's getting back.
You're in the D zone?
The left side of it is in the BE zone.
Oh.
Everything else is not in the BE zone.
So it's a small section.
Just the one section.
One at a time.
Yeah, okay, right, so I think what DEC is saying is that because a portion of the VE region zone transects, comes across, you know, a portion of it, the entire building needs to conform to the VE requirement. Which they've had many, many discussions about that. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And so if even a little slither building, and then the entire building needs to
I hit the button.
Can you hear now?
Yes, you must have hit the button. I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
I'm filling in my
The last-
papers and I just hit the button.
I think the last 5 minutes.
Yep.
I
Well, I can't rewind in my head the last 5 minutes.
I'm glad it was silent.
You reading the letter?
Yeah.
Lola, did you hear us read the letter?
say it again?
You hear us read the letter?
No.
That was it.
Just that.
Um,
No,
hold on
that's all
one
right.
second.
We had 3 exhibits and I read the last exhibit C in the record. Please don't make me do it again.
Tell them to refer to the transcript.
Yes. I agree with Courtney.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is that I think I got the 3 code sections that will be part of the request. Do we have any other questions?
No.
Ms. Schaub? No.
I just say thank you for clarification because it really needed help from this
Sorry,
plan
I'm
examiner
sorry.
in town because
Like I
this
said,
one's a little more detailed than.
we didn't want to object. I was under the impression if you weren't objecting, you didn't need to show up. And Lindenhurst at code class has no cell reception, just 0 bars, SOS over there.
We're not mad at you. You don't have to-
Yeah, sorry.
She's been great through the whole process.
I used to work in the village of Lindenhurst, so I'm used to flood areas.
Yeah, they got pummels.
Have houses that aren't raised and.
That's where Radko's from, actually. He's from Freeport, and that's how.
They were affected,
He did
yeah.
a little mitigation there, so that's why I thought he was, I hired him for that, and I hired Hayda because they did the revitalization for Callahan. So here I hired all the people thinking that they were the most knowledgeable, which the plans show, the ingenuity was there. It's just this questioning,
Overqualified.
overqualified almost. Yeah, kind of.
All right.
So when I get back today, I'll email CJ the tile plan and the Hayduck drainage regrading plan.
And if you can email us the emails that you provided to us in physical copy, right? So all those, the certificates that Rob read.
Well, we.
Yeah, but if we had, yeah.
Would it be easier if I scan the letters I just gave you?
Yeah.
No problem.
Since you're emailing.
No problem, no problem. We got all the stuff at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Personally.
formality after that. I mean, I have Genius Scan on my phone. I can go boom, 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 and send it over to Courtney.
Okay.
Could do that. With that being said, we're gonna beat each other up over this and then we'll call you for a decision.
Okay, so we'll just wait.
If you want to stick around or you're busy, you can tap out and then we can have the client.
Why go back?
That's fine.
Why go back to work?
But she's actually working this.
Small cut anyway, so I mean, unless stuff arrives.
Yeah, you're on the record, so
You wanna take these back?
thank you. You want to keep for the deliberation, anything?
No.
Okay,
You sure? Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lola, we're gonna deliberate now.
All right. Good luck.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
All right.
okay,
I'm sorry, don't be mad at me.
I won't be.
Back on the record? Thank you. Okay, with respect to petition number 2025-0309, Mr. Jason DiGregorio. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR, Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.3.2.3, and we added .5. The board makes the following findings. Number 1, the subject 2-story wood frame dwelling is located at 3 Seashell Lane, Port Salonga, Town of Smithtown, County of Suffolk, State of New York. As per the Town of Smithtown Code official, said property is outside of a designated wetland. Number 2, the majority of the structure is in an AE 12 flood zone with what appears to be a small portion of the dwelling in the VE 13 flood zone. Therefore, the entire dwelling shall be regulated in the VE 13 FEMA flood zone. Number 3, the building foundation is an engineered design that incorporates a pile foundation with grade beams and no open space underneath the floor structure. Number 4, The garage area is the only area below the design flood elevation. This area has flood vents that exceed the minimum requirements for flood vents and breakaway garage and personnel doors, otherwise known as man doors. Number 5, there were 2 letters submitted by Robert A. Bennett, PE of Rabco Engineering, PC, dated September 30th, 2023, and August 30th, 2023, certifying the structural adequacy of the construction. Number 6, there was minor regrading performed post-permit to address improving drainage requirements and allow for a sanitary system as approved by the Town Engineering Division. And number 7, in testimony, it was identified by the town code official that a variance is required from section R322.3.5 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, section R322.3.2, R322.3.3, and R322.3.5, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which ensure the achievement of the code's intended objective, or in light of alternatives which, without loss in the level of safety, achieve the code's intended objective more efficiently, effectively, or economically, and the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. So wherefore it is determined the application for variance from the provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, section R322.3.2, R322.3.3, and R322.3.5 is hereby proposed to be granted. Can I get a motion to approve?
Andy, so moved.
I'll second it.
We got a second from Mr. Pavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and application before it that's contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specification presented in support of this application. Phil, you got your approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for attending today, Josephine. We appreciate it.
Sorry
Yeah.
about.
We got him to the finish line.
Welcome.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Enjoy your home.
I don't think you heard my last one. I'm sorry. If you have, I can send you one.
I'm taking you off
Jared,
record.
good job. We're off the record.